Hello everybody, welcome to the first live of 2024. My name is Roland van der Mande, LSM-VIA ambassador in Latin America, and I'll be today's host of this live. Today we're going to dive deeper into this fantastic feature EVS provides, which also got awarded at the latest NAB Las Vegas trade show. Imagine a production where you can transform any live footage as well as post and archived content into super slow motion replays. That is what Xtramotion does. With Xtramotion, replay operators can clip content from all over the network and render it into super slow motion and then play it back from their EVS replay server. All this without losing any inputs. Sounds great, right? Xtramotion is available as Edge on premises and as well as a cloud-based service. Let's kick off by finding out what Xtramotion really is. Well, that looks promising, right? So let's summarize. You can transform any clip into a super slow motion replay. It doesn't matter which camera angle you use, it works on any clip. In addition, it can also be applied to archived content. All this without losing any inputs. For example, for a 3-phase super slow motion replay, you won't have to sacrifice 3 channels anymore, only 1. You can also apply Xtramotion to already existing super slow motion clips to get even smoother and slower replays. You can increase the frame rate of your specialty cameras like drones, in-goal cams, car cams or body cams. All this footage can be turned into super slow motion replays using Xtramotion. Before we continue, let's take a closer look at how it's done.
Super slow motion is a great way to add an instant wow factor to your productions. It allows you to create breathtaking replays and highlights that increase the intensity and the emotion of live moments. However, the usage of super slow motion cameras is usually reserved for a few carefully selected angles, mainly due to size and cost constraints. You also need to support the high frame rate live feeds, including licenses for which not everyone has the budget. Now, imagine being able to easily increase your super slow motion coverage without the need for high frame rate cameras and without having to deploy any additional hardware on site. Xtramotion makes it possible. The cloud-based service designed for EVS ecosystems lets you create super slow motion replays from virtually any camera feed during live or post-production. It also allows you to further slow down images generated by super slow motion cameras without stuttering. Once activated on demand, EVS replay operators can trigger clips to be rendered by Xtramotion with a simple touch of a button and play them back with the desired frame rate seconds after. The transformation of clips into high-speed video is performed in the cloud using frame interpolation, a process which uses EVS machine learning algorithms to generate intermediate frames between the existing ones. As a result, the super slow motion effect can easily be applied to any type of footage. You can even use Xtramotion on archived content recorded years ago to further enhance your storytelling. It's time to take your replays to the next level. Add a touch of magic from the cloud with Xtramotion.
So here we see the Xtramotion cloud infrastructure. It's an on-demand AI-based super slow motion processing system. The turnaround time with Xtramotion Cloud is around 20 seconds for a 3-second clip at an average up and download bandwidth of 40 megabytes per second. The Xtramotion Edge infrastructure is an on-prem AI-based super slow-mo processing system. And the turnaround time with Xtramotion Edge is around 5 seconds independent of the clip length, making it possible to use process clips in your live storytelling. Okay, so let's start with our demo. First, log into the VIA portal on admin.myevs.com. Go to the Xtramotion tab, and there in the Your Services screen it's very important to copy the connection code. You will need to enter this code in the encoder profile in a later stage. Make sure you have set the active version of your service to Xtramotion version 2.2 and select the AWS region closest to your premises. Start the service when you want to start using Xtramotion. Okay, so now we are at our LSM-VIA application on the X client. And if you take a closer look at the left downside corner, you see a small icon right above the search icon. That's a shortcut to go to the VIA X Square settings. Now it will load our page. So this is the VIA X Square homepage. In the right upper corner we go to the configurations and then we go to users and access. Here appears all the users. EVS recommends one role per user. And a role needs to be defined before creating a user. So one user can be part of multiple groups, so you have to assign it. We recommend to add a dedicated role and user for LSM-VIA. And for more information about user and access right management in VIA X Square, please refer to the documentation portal docs.evs.com. For now, let's go back to the home page. In VIA X Square we need to do 3 tasks to configure Xtramotion. We need to first create a target. Then we need to create a new template and a new template that contains a new encoder profile. That's the 3rd step. So first, how do we create a new target? We navigate to Job Initiators and we go to Target. Let's click there. In the upper left corner you see Add New. So clicking on that one. Then we go to Label. Choose one of the default labels from the label category. I'm going to choose EVS Server. In the name field, enter an operator-friendly target name, for example Xtramotion. So I'm going to name this Live Xtramotion. Alright, then we go to step 2 where we choose the template. Choose the template to EVS server clip, same codec as source as the template from the drop down menu. So you see here same codec as source, that's the one we want. Click Edit to start editing the default template. Click right here. You can enable Choose Encoder Profile and choose one of the default encoders that matches with your XT-VIA server configuration. It can be AVS Intra, DNX HD, ProHAS 422 or XAVC Intra, for example. So let's choose one here. Let's choose Encoder Profile. We will choose Xtramotion Cloud. So now we're going to click on Open to edit the selected encoder profile and go to Video and then EVS Xtramotion settings and make sure they are set to the following. So let's drop down first. Let's search for video and then EVS Xtramotion, what we're working with. Okay, there we are, Xtramotion. So make sure the following settings are applied. This one needs to be set at 3, enable EVS Xtramotion. The connection code is the code we saw at the beginning of the configurations, where we copied the code. You need to paste it right here. And the bandwidth profile should be low or native depending on the available bandwidth and expected turnaround times. And the AWS region, we set this one here to EU West as we're on the EU page. Important to know, you cannot override the default encoder profile, so you have to save your changes as a new encoder profile, for example by adding XMO to the encoder profile name. So let's do that here, let's do save as, Xtramotion Cloud, and we do XMO, we add it here, and we click on save. So that's saved. In the destination metadata you select the clip name and then you select the percentage and then source. So the source name and then you do a lower score and you do XMO, for example. This name field, make sure that if you use a clip name as a source, for example LSM-ID 117 alpha, that it's called goal. If you apply Xtramotion to it, then 117 bravo will be called goal lower score XMO. So that is what this part is for. So then we go to the destination IDs. So I said the var ID should be on create new, the asset view ID should be set on auto as well as material ID, and the UM ID should be set on create new. In the advanced settings, make sure same EVS server as source is ticked. Then we go to the source configuration, and we're going to check the guard bands. So the guard band settings should be set on trim clip, remove guard bands. Alright, again you cannot override a default template, so save your changes as a new template. So save as, for example by adding Xtramotion to it. Xtramotion, I'm going to save it again. Okay, once that is set, we can go to our step 4, which is the destination. The destination fields are disabled since you don't need to specify an IP address. It already has same value as EVS source. So click on the lock icon to open the EVS server authentication and make sure your clip location is set to close to source location. The camera angles can be set to any, and when you're happy with your settings you can save it, followed by a save of the entire target. In VIA X2 we can manage the number of jobs that are simultaneously sent to the Xtramotion service. We recommend to limit the processing to a 1-by-1 routine in order to have the fastest return of the Xtramotion content. That's why we prefer to limit the maximum number of destinations to a Xtramotion cluster to 1. This can be done by changing the orchestration from the configuration menu. So navigate to your configuration menu and select Orchestration. So once you're there, you first select the right position, click the Add Cluster button in the cluster box below the position where you want to insert a new cluster. So now we have selected the default cluster, so when we add a cluster now, it will be placed between the XMO and the default cluster. Select the Add by Target cluster from the drop-down menu. Then you go all the way down to the By Target box, where you can rename your cluster in the name field. Select the destination targets from the drop-down list you want to assign to this cluster. In this case, Xmo Edge 2.2 and Xmo Cloud 2.2. So once you're done, you click Save and you can associate your destination to your cluster. Click on the orchestration bars to access the configuration. Here you can set the maximum destinations and transcoding for the cluster. As said before, it's recommended by EVS to limit the processing to a 1-by-1 routine in order to have the fastest return of the Xtramotion content. So only assign one destination to an Xtramotion cluster. Once you're done, click on the Save button to save the orchestration configurations, followed by a Save in the right downside corner to save the entire cluster settings. Now let's go to the next step. Okay. Now let's go to our LSM-VIA configuration settings. We go to the infrastructure part and we go to X square. The IP address is set, login is set, and the password is set. Check connection. X square is connected, save, and now we can launch the LSM-VIA application. Okay, as we can see, the VIA application is running. Now what we can do is assign Xtramotion as a shortcut to our LSM-VIA. So for that, let's switch to the touchscreen. I'm going to press on the Edit Shortcut button, find an empty spot, go to the Export Category tab, and there I'm seeing Xtramotion Cloud 2.2. I'm going to give it a color, a green color here, and I'm exiting the edit screen. So now we can find a nice clip. Okay, for example this last bit. Okay, I'm going to save it. Nice touch of a ball. I'm going to save it to bank 5. So here we are, bank 5. So you see in the full client, here it is. I'm going to call this clip. Now it's queued, and I'm going to export it xCloud. And there you will see it's going to appear on the Charlie spot, as it is the first available option. And there it is. So we can already queue it. C button, there we see Xtramotion, Sport 1 Xtramotion, and there's our clip. It's in super motion. Another great feature on the latest version of Xtramotion is now I can even export an Xtramotion clip one more time as an Xtramotion clip. So now it's a 3-phase super slow-mo, and then it will turn into a 9-phase super slow-mo. Look at this. So we're doing once more. We're going to the next client, and now it will get the name Xmo. There it is, Sport 1 Xmo. And now we can clip it, or we can queue it. I'm sorry, queue it. There we are. So Super Sport Xmo. So now let's hit play to see the result. So this is a 9-phase super slow-mo. Well, that's all there is about Xtramotion. Are you eager to try it out yourself? Well, that's possible on our tryout page. Here you can upload your own content and you get it back in Xtramotion. Go check it out. Well, that's almost the end of our live. Not before I remember you to also visit our website evs.com/new replay experience, where you can find all the latest information regarding LSM-VIA, tutorial videos and documentation. Well, that's the end. I hope you liked it. Above all, I hope it was useful, and I'll see you at our next live. Thanks for watching.